Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Yvonne Fleischer, and I met a lot of the parents here this morning. And if I haven't met you, I'm the Director of Student Life and Wellness here at King's Edgehill School. And a big welcome to everyone who could be here today. After a few years of some parents not being able to come and doing a lot of different Zoom meetings and Skypes and a lot of virtual, it's really nice, great way to start the year that we could be here in person. As we have many parents and guardians that could not be here today, we're going to be recording this session. That's why you see the video camera, so we'll be able to upload it to our website. And for the parents that are here today, then if you missed something, you can also go back and then be able to view the video. Our goal for today is to talk about some important parts of King's Edgehill School for both boarding and day students. As you know, being a boarding school is about keeping our students active, engaged, healthy, participating, and trying new things, and overall having a balanced life 7 days a week. So joining me today, we have a lot of our staff that is going to be doing just a couple of minutes of introductions. So we have Miss Dawn Klein, who is our registered nurse here at the school. We have Miss Taya Shields, who is our director of junior school. Mr. Kim Walsh, our athletic director. Mr. Dwayne Crawford, our business manager. And Mr. Derek Bauman, who is our assistant director academics. After you've heard from our wonderful team, I will share more about our trips and travel, plus weekend activities that will happen this academic school year. So, Ms. Dawn, would you like to come up?
Good morning. So as Yvonne said, I am Dawn Klein. I'm actually one of the part-time nurses here at the school. Sue Cole, who's our full-time nurse, is actually took her daughter to university. So you probably have seen emails from her, and you'll continue to see emails from her. She is our full-time nurse. We are in the office Monday to Friday and on call 24/7. So Nurse Cole is typically in the office from 7:30 in the morning till 3:30 in the afternoon. And then myself, Dawn, or Nurse Jodry, so Laureen Jodry is our other part-time nurse, and we cover the evening. So 3:30 to 7:30 we're in the office, and then after that we're of course on call. We do come to brunch on the weekends to check in with students. So we're trying to be as visible as we can. And the house parents obviously know we're always on call, so they can get a hold of us at any time. We do have a school doctor. She's new this year and she's wonderful. Her name's Dr. Zhao. She comes into the nursing office on Thursday mornings. I believe Thursday mornings she'll be here. And then she always has spots open at the end of her day should we need to get a student in. We work closely with the school doc, so we're just really fortunate. Emerge visits, so it would be the nurse on call. If a student ever needed to go to the emergency room, we would take them there, and we would stay with them for the duration of their assessment, and then we always email the parents. I know with technology, you probably might hear from your child first, but you will always get a follow-up email from us. You'll know everything. We welcome questions. Never hesitate to reach out, I guess is the biggest message. As far as medications go for our office, for the students, we don't allow any prescription medications in rooms or over-the-counter medications, and that's really for safety of all students. So the house parents will reach out to them and ask that they turn in any medications. That being said, we do, if a child has a cold and they're COVID negative, but if they have a cold or anything, we do tend to give them some medication, and then if they're headed to bed, we kind of give them a little envelope with another dose, just so they have something for overnight in case they're feeling really horrible. That way they can give themselves something. And we always like to follow up in the office the next morning just to make sure everything's okay. What else? We do have an infirmary, so we have 8 beds that we can allow students to rest in if they're unwell. So they can come to the office during the day, and we can assess them, and if we kind of make a decision together, and if they're feeling unwell, then they can rest in the infirmary. Should a student need to be isolated there or feel they'll get more rest in their dorm room, then they can stay there overnight, and there is a house parent that lives in Richardson, where the nursing office is. Her name's Kim Shanks, and then she would take over in the evening. So the students have a doorbell, they have cell phone numbers if they need to reach Kim, but she would be their overnight person. Insurance coverage, so all our students get, our international students and non-domestic students would get coverage through Blue Cross, and that's paid for through the finance office. Okay, ER visits are covered. There is a portion for dental, but all that's kind of through the finance office, and then we're kind of the keepers of all those numbers, and we make sure that when students need them, they have them. For our domestic students, it's really great. We may reach out for health card numbers and extended insurance numbers. It's just nice to have that, so that we can direct bill your provider versus, you know, sending it through the finance office. It's just kind of easier for everyone, really. And just so you know, we have many community partners. So if your child needs physiotherapy, chiro, massage, any outside mental health counseling of any kind, we have partners in our community with well-established relationships. So just so you know, that access is there. We also on campus, we have a great athletic therapist, Jenny Weiser. So she obviously works with our athletes, but also works with other children who have had injuries during recreational sport. So she's a huge resource, and she's here full-time with us. So that's Jenny. Mental health, we have a mental health team. Just so everyone knows, we meet monthly. Again, it's comprised of a multitude of staff, including our counselor that we have right here on campus. And last but not least, everyone's favorite topic these days, COVID. It's always evolving and changing, as everyone knows. I know Sue sent out a letter. I'm just going to kind of quickly review that. So we're going to start. We ask that everyone, upon arriving to campus, has had a test in the last 24 hours. Make sure everyone's doing okay that way when they arrive. Day students and staff are expected to test when before they come to school the first day. And then we're going to test on September 12th and September 26th, just kind of incrementally, just hopefully make sure we're all healthy moving into the school year. As far as positive testing, so if someone has no symptoms, but they happen to test positive, they are expected to isolate. So here on campus, that will be our infirmary. So isolate from the rest of the population for 5 days to make sure no symptoms appear. And then they may return to school after 5 days, but they have to wear a mask up until day 10. If a student tests positive and when they have symptoms, again, they have to isolate for 5 days or until they have no new symptoms for 24 hours. And then they can return back to school wearing a mask up to day 10, if that makes sense. And of course, we support masking, whatever it's your choice. We support masking. Obviously, it's not mandatory for the start of our school year, but we will support any staff or student if that makes them the most comfortable. Just two more notes. Teams who travel, if anyone has a student traveling with a team, they are expected to test upon return to campus. And then come October, we'll return to symptomatic testing only, unless something tells us we have to change that, but hopefully not. All right, I think that covers it for now. I wish everybody, safe arrival and a great year, and I look forward to meeting your children. Thanks.
Thank you, Dawn. Dwayne, if you would like to come up now. Thank you.
Hey, good morning, everybody. I haven't really talked to the microphone before. Usually I'm just standing down there on the floor. Can everybody hear me all right? Perfect. So my name is Dwayne Crawford. I'm the finance manager in the business office, third floor of Marshall House. And I work alongside Joanne Greenslade Marilyn Redden and Stephen Porter. You may have gotten some emails from them before, so we're all kind of a big team up there. We call it the penthouse. We're on the top floor, so come check it out sometime before you leave. Come say hi. So in the finance office, we kind of handle a bunch of different stuff, but the number one point for anyone who's a boarding parent here, the number one point we always say every year, if you are leaving cash with your child here, we do not leave it in the dorm room. Get them to bring it to us. We have a safe. We just would hate to see anything happen, and we just really want to make sure that it's safe. So bring the cash to us. Now, if it's just some pocket money, then it's fine. But if they're having a significant amount of cash, we recommend you bring it to us. We will store it in the safe. We'll hold on to it until they need it. They can take it at any time, or until a bank account is set up, which is usually done, I believe, through the host parents. They'll help them set up a bank account down at Scotiabank, and then they can deposit it into there. So, monthly statements. So you'll receive a monthly statement from us around the 8th of every month. September's a little bit different. They'll be coming out next week. Check your emails for those. They come from Joanne Greenslade, so make sure that you have her kind of in a safe sender list, or check your junk folders. It's just a link that you click on, and then it'll download your statement. Your school trips and sports and stuff will be billed a little bit delayed. So we rely on the faculty to get us the receipts as quickly as possible, which usually they're really good at, but then we have to process it and bill it. So you may have a trip that ended at the end of a billing cycle, right before statements go out, but it doesn't get on until the next statement. So just be wary of that if they go on a trip, it will be on your statement eventually. If it's not on the first one right after, it'll just be on the next statement. So if there's any questions about your statements or anything that you think shouldn't be on there, let us know right away as soon as you notice it. Nothing's worse than in April or May trying to dig back and find something from September, October, and find out why it was billed on your account. It's a lot harder, 5-6 months ahead of time. So, and then if you don't receive a statement by the middle of this month, so let's say the 20th of September, contact the business office right away. Just because it might mean that we have your email entered in incorrectly, and we want to make sure that you start receiving your statements and can stay on top of the account. So if you don't receive a statement, let us know, and we'll make sure that we have everything in there right. Talk a little bit about payment methods. So currently we're using a couple third-party vendors for international transfers. They're using credit cards. There's one called Plastique and one called Flywire. They're available on our payments tab on our website, so it has the links that you can go on. You just create an account and then find us as a payee. We also do regular wire transfers, direct bank transfers, and e-transfers, as well as cashier checks. And when you're submitting a payment electronically, it is very important to put as much detail in that transfer as possible, whether it's your family number, student name, as much information. Sometimes we'll have relatives that send us transfers for a student, let's say it's for a grandson, and there's just their name, which doesn't match the family at all, and we have no way of tracing who it goes to. So we don't find out who it's for until they say, oh, we made a payment on our account like 2 months later, and we have this money sitting there, we don't know whose account it's for. So please put as much detail as possible on that. And you can also send us an email letting us know to expect a payment. So then we know, okay, this payment is meant for so-and-so's account. So just keep that in mind as well. And then money requests. So you can set up an allowance for your child as well to come to the school store. They can actually pick up, I believe usually it's around like $20 or $40 a week, and then that gets billed to your account directly, and you'll see that on your monthly statement. So you can set that up through us in the business office. We'll set it up on the account and then let Nancy at the school store know that she can give out so much to each student. They have to sign for it, and then it gets billed on your account. For any large cash advances, let's say there's a shopping trip on a weekend and you want them to have a couple $100, you need to email us and get confirmation from us first, and then the student can come pick up the cash in the finance office. It'll also be billed to your account, and then You'll see that on your statement. The only other thing is that there is an ATM on site they can use a debit card for, and you can withdraw cash from there. If the ATM is either out of order or the cash runs out in it, they can come see us in the finance office and do the same thing. Then it won't be billed on your account if they have a debit card. But if you have a cash request in, we'll just bill it right to your account. And other than that, just again, just really like to drive the point, don't keep large sums of cash in your rooms. So thank you very much. That's everything.
To the parents who just joined us, thank you for coming. Just to let you know that you did miss a couple of presenters, but everything is being videotaped for this session. So if there's a lot of information, don't worry, you can always just go back and have a look at the recording and gather the information again. Mr. Walsh, would you like to come up?
Good morning, everybody. My name is Kim Walsh. I'm the Director of Athletics. A bit awkward when you see people spread out so much. It is reflection of COVID. We always used to spread out so much. It's not that we don't like each other. We certainly do get along well. Just to give you a little bit of athletics, it's split into junior school, which is up to grade 9, and then senior school, grade 10 to grade 12. We do have some juniors that play some senior sports, but particularly varsity sports. As far as the regular sports day, we'll start that right off tomorrow for the seniors. We'll go off to their particular sports right away. The juniors usually have a games day, a little bit of team building that they'll do on that first day. The juniors usually start their sports at 2:30 and go till 3:30. This first term with the younger ones, they have some early buses that go. But if they're on a varsity competitive team, the juniors, then they would have matches sometimes in the afternoon. Usually those start around 4 o'clock or 4:30. As far as soccer would be the main one in the fall, as well as cross-country running, so on and so forth. As far as the selections, those are done by the seniors tomorrow morning. Mr. Lakes is my assistant, and he's responsible particularly in the junior school. And he'll end up going from class to class on the second day just to make sure that he has everybody put in a particular sport. We do keep attendance at sports. It's a mandatory part of our school program. And those students, it's nice to have them, particularly the boarders, nice and tired by the time they get to bed. And we do have full days here at the school, so they're usually pretty exhausted. As far as travel, if it's an overnight event that teams are going to, then you'll receive some kind of information from the particular head coach of that varsity program. Usually it's something, just an acknowledgement that you're aware of it, and sign off and send that back directly to those coaches. We've got a pretty busy first little while as far as sports are concerned. We've got our Division I senior tournament that I think it's our 24th annual. We hosted it last year, so we expect to have 14 visiting soccer teams here on campus on the weekend of the 16th, Friday and Saturday. We'll start play around noon time. We'll probably have a noise day. Pick one of our teams that will let some of the students get out and hopefully get out and support the team, as well as build some school morale as well too. The following weekend, our 2 Division I teams will be going off to New Brunswick to a tournament up there, but we're hosting another tournament, which is called our ACES tournament, Atlantic Conference of Independent Schools. It's all our private schools in Atlantic Canada that get together, and we have soccer, cross-country running, and tennis that are in those particular events. So we expect to have a few hundred people on campus that following weekend as well, the 23rd weekend. So looking at the nurse, hopefully no COVID. So as far as events, we also have hockey games that are booked up already. Those schedules are pretty much fixed. We'll add some as we go. Baseball, they've got some events that are starting already. They have a major trip down in New England. As far as sports and the varsity side of things, we're actually quite balanced between varsity, the competitive events that we participate in, as well as recreational. Soccer being our biggest population base for a sport in the entire school year, particularly in the fall. In the wintertime, the hill is a popular place to go. And in the wintertime, we probably have up to 150 students that travel every day to the hill. They won't be going on Wednesdays. That's our arts and club day on Wednesdays, but they'll be going all the other days, barring rain in the winter or whatever the case may be. Those groups, we switch sports from the fall to the winter after the first weekend in November. And so those that are on the hill, they do dry-land training until such time they come back in January. And we have lots of snow, they're out there in January and February. And then we wrap the winter term up for sports that first weekend in March. And the spring term, by population, our biggest activity would be probably 120 rugby players. And we won both the senior boys and senior girls rugby provincial championships last year, which we hosted. And I was most proud that we had a great group of young juniors that were actually doing most of the hosting. And so a great advantage of being in a small school that the juniors and seniors do get to see each other quite often. And we certainly depend on each other in both aspects of the school. As far as marks in the senior school, all students are given a mark, their PALCOM mark, and I take marks that are produced by coaches and I average those over the year. We do also have a grade 12 phys ed credit, and we do that exactly the same way, and those students register for that course, and I think we have probably usually about 10 to 12 that take that particular course as well too. So you won't see anything on report cards up until the very end. You don't get a mark in any athletics or phys ed until the very end of the school year. So you'll see that and say, oh, interested that they were in that particular activity. So we do give grades, but not for all particular students. And if you have any questions, I guess we're probably going to get together at the very end. Please do make yourself known to me and ask whatever questions you have available. Appreciate it, and looking forward to meeting a lot of your children. Thanks very much, and have a good day.
Our Director of Junior School.
Hi everybody. Getting a little tired? First of all, show of hands, how many people, parents have children from grade 6 to 9 coming to the school this year? Okay, so it's not everybody, but I always like to show a few photos because I think that way you get a better sense. A little window. Let's see if I can get this to work. First thing I want to say to you is I'm really looking forward to the energy because it's been quiet around here the last little while. I'm having a hard time getting this in. I know Derek Parker's going to jump up in a second. Okay, perfect.
Just go up to slideshow on the top menu and just from beginning.
Or not.
Or not. I'll edit the video.
What's that?
I'll edit this video to get
Well, anyway, I'll just talk to you a little bit before we go so you can get a picture of our juniors. And so junior school goes from grade 6 to 9. And I love the energy. Everything happens just outside these theater doors because that's where the junior school is. And so grades 6 to 9, and it's an energized, wonderful group of students. We are about 1/3 of the entire school. There we go, perfect. So we're 1/3 of the school, and we're small. And that's one of the things that I really like. And when I say small, we're about 125 students, which for us, in the facility that we have, is chock full, because our classrooms hold a maximum, I could say, of about 19, 20, and our class sizes average 15 to 19. So really happy to have a full junior school, and of course, all that energy, which I'm looking forward to. One of the words that I use when I think about the junior school, we often talk about private education, but I consider it personal. So it is very personal. I love what I do, and I love meeting every one of the juniors in the junior school. So all 124 of them I will know personally. But I also want you to know as parents that it is the kind of place which is very welcoming, very safe, but also extremely supportive. So your child will not only have classroom teachers, coaches who care about them, house parents if you're in the residence, or day parents if you're a day student, myself, but particularly key is the advisor. So in the junior school, and in the senior school as well, every student will be given an academic advisor. So that person is like the best go-to person that you can think of. That person will be in touch with you within the first week of school, and that advisor for your son or daughter will be an advocate, will be just a person to answer little questions or big questions, celebrate birthdays. And in the junior school, the advisors meet with their small advisor groups 3 mornings a week. So it's a lovely way to start the day just before the classes begin. And when I think about our school, I've been here a while, but one thing that strikes me is the incredible sense of community that this school has. And it's hard to define, what community is in a school, but you'll see it on their faces. They're happy. They quite often, they want to stay longer. Hopefully they won't be missing the buses, but they love to be here. They love to be in the music room. They love to be, just hanging around in the classrooms. And 3 years ago, we came up with a school mascot. And you may see the logo around the school and the branding on a lot of our jackets and clothing. But it's significant. The kids love the Highlander logo because it's actually named after the Highlander bull. And at a farm nearby, there was exactly one of these bulls named Dylan. And so since Dylan was born, the kids have gone and celebrated birthdays. And so it's become, again, just something that really connects our community together. It was very exciting when Dylan was announced, and you can see the girls in the photo below, because we had little stuffies and they were all buying the mascots. And for Halloween, one of the boys, that's what he did, he carved out the pumpkin. So again, it unites our community in spirit. The other thing that I think is fantastic about our school in general, and also the junior school, is our international population. And we have students in the junior school from 10 different nations, and I wrote them down here somewhere: China, Mexico, Japan, Taiwan, United States, United Kingdom, Germany, Cayman Islands, Turkey. So we have such a wonderful global cross-section. And the students learn so much from each other, and they learn about different cultures firsthand. And I think it strengthens who we are, and it gives them the best firsthand geography lesson you can imagine. So in this photo, that's last year at Thanksgiving. We did a little long weekend Thanksgiving homestay program. Any day students who wanted to host an international student could. So that's Kelsey and Andrea, and that's Thanksgiving last year. I think someone mentioned, maybe Kim, how we are one community, and thankfully with COVID we were kind of separated, you know, we were in a junior bubble, senior bubble, and thankfully that has all lifted, because one of the other great things about our community is that the senior students and the junior students get to know each other, like big brothers, big sisters. And so we have a program called Prefect Buddies, and some of our grade 12s and stewards in grade 11, they'll choose to be involved with the program, but they'll be paired up with some of our youngest, and they absolutely love it. They've got a built-in friend, someone to hang out with, so it works on both ends. We have the best staff, and I say that in all sincerity. You can't work in the school unless you've got an attitude of giving. And so we give from the classroom in terms of enthusiasm and knowledge, but also in all the extracurricular events. In the junior school, we have games like Highland Games, where the kids have a lot of fun with caber tosses and different relays. But the nice thing is that the teachers are right there with them, having fun right along with them. And you can see in that top left photo, we have one of our staff, Pat LaQuadvan, who's a great bagpiper. And he actually teaches a lot of the juniors how to play bagpiping. It's one of our clubs, and they learn pretty quickly. So you can see the happy faces, and just the commitment is the point I wanted to make there. Academically, we meet each student where they are, and when I design the timetables and the schedules, I design it with flexibility in mind, so that if a student needs extra English support, they can get it in one section, but if they need enriched math, I can bump them up and they can get that as well. So we really do teach to the individual. We have a wonderful Success Center, and the Success Center is a support. You know, I'm so aware, especially with those, our youngest grade 6s coming in, and grade 7s, that they're coming from elementary school. And it is a huge transition. Even the idea of, you know, not having one teacher all day, but moving around to different teachers in different courses where they're the experts. So we're very sensitive to that, and they'll write exams for the first time. So the Success Center is a great place to learn organizational skills, to learn how to prepare, to write a test, an exam, or in the case of Sue Bauman, who's our director of the Success Center, and Christian Lakes, who helps down there, they really just make the kids feel at home, and they love to go there, so it's a great support. As well, in the junior school, we always take part in math competitions. Every junior school student has the I guess, enjoyment of choosing a science fair project and seeing it through, and it's nicely paced for them. And we have a great debating program. We've got a lot of stuff going on. And the one thing that I say to parents and to students is just jump in with both feet. Don't be afraid to try anything. That's what a junior school schedule looks like, but on your computerized MyKES platform, each day will appear for the student and for the parent, and it'll just show what the courses are. But that's what it looks like, and you can see that there are 8 days across in the timetable. And then if we hit day 8 on a Wednesday, then the Thursday just reverts back to day 1, and away it goes. We share staff between junior and senior school, like the art teacher and the music space. So the senior schedule is similar, although in the morning the classes are longer, like 75-minute classes. But it all works. So a student in the junior school will have their core subjects. In addition, for the grade 6, 7s, just before lunch, we put in a block called Wellness, and that's a period where they can get up, go over to the athletic center, they get moving, they recharge their batteries, and the research shows that when they go back to class in the afternoon, they're just a little bit more tuned in, so that's a great program as well. Notice at the bottom, as Kim said, that we get out of school at 2:15 out of classes, They change and they go to junior sports for an hour. And the buses first term leave at 3:30. We do have a club program, which includes debating and improv club and robotics and all kinds of other fun things, cooking. So in that first term, we can squeeze some of those things into our lunch period, or the child can stay and get on the senior bus, which leaves at 5:30 at the end of the day. So that's what the schedule looks like. We also like to head out on the road, take our learning on the road, and this is a grade 7 class from last year who went to Briar Island, small island in Nova Scotia. They did some whale watching, they did some biological studies, and just had a great time. We also in the junior school have our grade 9 Duke of Edinburgh program. It's our anchored leadership program in the junior school. So students learn, well, they go on adventurous journeys, they do volunteer work in the community, and they grow. And so at the end of the year, if they fulfilled all the requirements, they will earn their grade 9 bronze Duke of Edinburgh award. And that's recognized around the world. We really value the fine arts in the school. Last year, the junior school did their musical right here on the stage. First time in, I think it was 3 years because of COVID. So they did The Lion King. It was fantastic. I know that in the first week of school, the senior school will be auditioning for The Little Mermaid, and some of the juniors will be invited to try out. But again, there's nothing like live theater. They'll be right up here. It involves, you know, musical sets and music and acting. It's fantastic. Top left, that's our dance studio, and those are young juniors in the dance program. We've had arts galas on stage last year. Prior to that, with COVID, it was all virtual. And the bottom right is a Halloween drawing of a raven that was done by one of our grade 9 students last year. And when you're walking down the hall, just look at the art. I call it my art gallery. And I love it, it's forever changing, and it's all student work, and it just shows what their abilities are. Sport program, Kim mentioned it, in the junior school, our philosophy is get fit, have fun, be flexible, try as much as you can, so expose yourself to as many sports, and of course good sportsmanship, and there are lots of opportunities for varsity play and competition. So in the junior school, the sports selections for this very first term, which your son or daughter will get on opening day, soccer, swimming, tennis, cross-country running, dance, fitness, equestrian, and golf, if you've have some expertise in that area. So lots of fun, and again, you can see it there. Looks like they were playing in the rain. Doesn't matter. I think the dirtier they are, the happier they are. So you just get a sense, bottom right, that's our cross-country girls who have won some ribbons there. This slide is about our junior school volunteering program. During COVID, we really couldn't go out into the community like we ordinarily would, to the hospital, to the seniors' homes, to the local elementary school where we do reading buddies, to Harvest House, where it's a soup kitchen. So instead, during that time, we made cards for caring. We just continued to do everything we could to give the students an opportunity to learn how to give. And I think it's a huge part of their development. So this year, we're going to be able to once again move out more into the community. We've got peer tutoring as well, which we do right here. You may have seen some of these signs around campus. It's the Terry Fox Run, which is an international event. But here at King's Edgehill, we host the event for our greater community of Windsor. So all of our students are on for September the 18th to lead by example through the town, but also to promote the event, to fundraise. And we are a little town of big firsts, but last year we were first in the province, you know, ahead of big cities like Halifax and Dartmouth. we fundraised for cancer research and made $42,000. So I say it's if everybody, all the students chip in, it's an amazing way to feel good about themselves and to do something which really builds confidence and a positive energy. And I love the fact that it's right at the beginning of the year, so it's open to everybody. That's hard to see, but that's our schedule for tomorrow. So opening day, we're all going to gather here, the entire school. The junior school will sit right down front here, and then it's grade 6 to 9 on the floor, grade 10, grade 11, grade 12's up in the upper seating. So we'll be a school of about 375, and then I'll take the juniors and we'll leave and we'll meet again over in the chapel as a group of 125, so it's not as daunting for them. And then from our group of 125, we'll branch off into our advisor groups of 11. And by then, they're feeling really comfortable. They'll get their schedules. They'll get to meet their advisor and connect, and then off to very short sample classes. And we finish the day with get-to-know-you games. As Mr. Walsh mentioned, it's not official sports, but all kinds of activities that includes everyone. So everybody runs home or up to the buses at the end of the day with a smile on their face. And that's it. So I hope you appreciated the window so you could see some of the faces of the juniors. And I'll be around at the end if you have any other questions regarding the junior school. Thank you.
Mr. Derek, would you like to come up?
Can you tell that Tay is very proud of the junior school? I tell you, every time I watch a presentation from Tay, I'm like, I gotta get some kids in the junior school. All 4 of my children went through the junior school, and to this day, they still talk about the great experience they had. So if you're a parent and you're dropping off your child for the first time, and it's a little bit trepidatious, you are in very good hands. But the compassion, the attention to detail, and the challenge that comes in the junior school as they fill out a full schedule every day. That same theme gets carried into the senior school as well, which I'll talk about. My name is Derek Bauman. I'm the Assistant Headmaster Academics, so I do oversee all the academic events at the school. As you know, and as you just witnessed, Taya is a very capable director of the junior school, so most of my time is spent with the senior school, but I'm still very, very interested in how things are flowing through. I'm not going to bring out an encyclopedia of information by now, you're fully saturated. But one thing I do want to mention to you, the first is I still remember my first day as staff here. I had never visited King's Edgehill School. I started in January, midway through the year. I was hired to be in the dorm and then teach some classes. And it was definitely like drinking water from a fire hose. There was a lot going on, and there was just a lot of things that I have to go to Chapman. I go to meals at this time or that time. But what I quickly learned was staff back then, and even more so now, are very friendly, very accommodating. That's from the house parents straight through the faculty and administration in terms of dealing with your child and with you, like as we talk and communicate. I will say this, our webpage just revamped, and we're kind of combing through it now just to make sure all the links and data is there. But certainly anything in the senior school in broad form is there. Also, it was mentioned, both from a medical, a sport, and academic point of view, but parents do have a login, to get into the My KES inner web portal, which is what your child will be using a lot these days. We lean on it more and more and more as time goes on. If you're looking for things in the calendar, wondering what's when, all those are there. Some of you might even be wondering what the report dates are. We're just finalizing those. Those are all there. So a lot of these things it's worth checking in on time to time, and also just kind of getting a feel for the structure of the school. Again, far too much there than for me to kind of repeat it all here. For the senior school, it's also worth saying that we do offer a very wide range of courses. I'm quite proud of that fact, and we're always looking to integrate more as new topics come up. We'd like to fold them in, try them out in a new language, a new science, whatever it takes to keep things going here. And, for instance, in our IB program, we do offer all three what we call the Group 6 requirements for the arts. So whether it's dance, whether it's music, all these things in visual arts, they're all offered at what we call the higher level and the standard level. So in the senior school, many courses in grade 11 and 12 are offered at 3 different levels. Again, the IB highest level, which is a fairly stringent, very quick-paced type of thing. The IB SL level, which is in the middle, and then the university prep or academic level. Rest assured that the academic level is definitely more than enough to see your child into university. And so, a big part of what we do is pointed in that direction. So again, I would refer you to the website if you want to see the full offerings there. If I were you, I'd be thinking about, what if my child maybe wants to shift courses, or they're maybe not fully registered yet. Tovin McLean is a name you're going to want to file in your brain, or if you ever send me an email, I'll refer. She's the one that actually does the day-to-day scheduling, and if a student needs to switch, for instance, they're 2 weeks in, and it's like, you know what, I really appreciate this class, but I'd like to change it to that, or I want more of a challenge, or honestly, I just wasn't fully prepared in my old school for this. I'd like to maybe start at a more modest pace. We can try and accommodate that. We do very well at that. Just so that you know, there is a bit of a cutoff point, but as we get registrations in through the springtime, and then even trickling into the summer as some students are late admits, what we'd like to do is we'd like to build a schedule around your child's interests. In other words, we don't fully lock things in and to state it yet another way, it's rare for us to say, that course is full, you can't take it. What we most often do is we split out another section to give your child a chance to take what they want to take. There is a limit to how far we can go with that, but I think it's important to know that we really base our schedule and structure off of what students like to take. There's a strong interest in law and sociology this year, for instance. And things go through, rises and falls in interest. Some years the sciences or certain science is very strong. Again, we just break up more sections as we need to, and we get that going. It is a school that we try to have everything work together, but there are busy points. In other words, Mr. K. Walsh was up here. He's talking about some sports trips and tournaments, which I love. I also coach varsity sports myself. In fact, you'll find that virtually all the staff do, which inherently creates a good synergy between all things, whether it's the play, whether it's the sports leadership opportunities or academics. We certainly like to work together, but it does mean that faculty included, but students certainly, we need to communicate with one another. So there's one thing we'd like to keep pushing to the students, is that to make, if you're on a team going somewhere or you're in a play, talk to your teachers. If there's a big assessment the next day, that assessment does have a sense of priority, and most of us bend and shape around that, but sometimes, an adjustment can be made if need be. So we like to work together, and so I just want to push that idea of communication. Again, from your end, if you have any questions as you leave this place, or I'll make myself available, feel free to come down. I'll talk to you more. We do have a university counselor, of course, here, Ainsley Sasaki. She works with all our grade 12s, and then all the way through 11s and 10s, and even has some introductory sessions for the junior high. Never too late to start thinking about those things. We even tried to get our students out now that COVID is sort of lifting. We'll get our students out. One thing that I'd like to say is I've given up on predicting the future. Might be an odd thing to say, but the last 2 years we've certainly done very well. I'm very proud of our staff, and I'm even more proud of our students and how they responded to a lot of distance learning, hybrid learning, changing different schedules, and we certainly were working hard to give everybody a strong academic experience. However, I'd like to say this year is just going to roll through like we have in decades past. That may or may not happen. We will communicate with you in detailed fashion as to how that would go, if that would happen. I know no one in this room wants to think about that, but just to say here and now that no matter what happens, we are going to make adjustments, and it's always our goal to make sure that your child gets the best possible academic experience. I'm going to leave it with that. I'll be here later on if you want to talk further about anything along those lines. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So as you heard from Taya, Derek, and Kim, we have a very busy school week, and that continues on evenings and weekends for our boarding, and always welcoming our day students as well. So whether your child is a day student or a boarding student, again, as everyone has shared, please regularly check the school calendar on the school website, and also MyKES, because this will help you as parents knowing what's happening during the school day and what's happening on the weekends, and it keeps you really connected to the school. Students will also be checking on MyKES for weekend activities and trips, trying to get that information out to them through their house parents, through assemblies, and MyKES, so they kind of know what's coming up and they can kind of plan of things that they would like to do. I'm new to this role, so I'm new to the school, and I've been learning about some of the favorite activities already that students enjoy on a Friday night. And they are from cookie decorating, cooking, various sports, campfires, movies, and popcorn, and the list goes on. There's a lot of favorites that they have that we really listen to the student voice to try and make sure that they want to go to these events and they're actually having fun. On Saturdays, students will have the opportunity to go on day trips. And some of these day trips might include going into Halifax for the day, going skiing when the snow is here, go-karts, professional sports games, movies, dinner, and again, just trying to keep a very variety. If there's an arts performance happening, then we can look in going to an arts, going to just a variety of different activities that are happening. Once all the students are on campus, like this week, I'm going to be asking what other activities they have done in the past or that they have learned about over the summer that we can start incorporating them and building them into our calendar as well. Student-led activities is also built into our program, so it gives students an opportunity to do and run these activities they are interested or passionate about, and this will help them with their planning and leadership skills. Students often will use and plan activities on campus, which involves using our facilities that we have here. So we're really fortunate that we have an amazing gym, we have swimming pool, basketball court, turf, and other sport fields that a lot of students want to run and plan these activities. So to see that happening on weekends for the students that don't want to go away on a weekend day trip, they'll also have some activities planned for the students that are here on campus. We really encourage all students to participate in weekend activities, whether it's being held on campus or a day trip. So as parents, this is where you kind of come in, like, what are you doing this weekend? What did you do last weekend? So keeping that communication open with them and just really trying to encourage them to make sure that they're participating. All of our students as well, I know we have some students who are day students, but they're always welcome on campus. They would be able to participate with the boarding students, just checking in with the house parent or the teacher on duty that weekend so that we know that they're on campus and we're able to include them. Just knowing that there is always a teacher on duty. Their house parents are always here, so there's lots of chaperones throughout the weekend. Christmas and March break, the school will be closed as there will be no food or supervision on campus, but I'm currently looking into what March trips can be planned. So I reached out to an educational company that helps plan some of the tours around the world as well as in Canada. So hopefully in the next week or two, I'll be able to start giving some the parents information of what that can look like for the March break. Please note that our long weekend trips, so our first long weekend trip is in October. It's the Thanksgiving weekend, and that's the very first long weekend that we have built into our school calendar. So previous years, they've always had a big surfing trip. So kids and the chaperones love it, so I'm planning that again. Please note that as For a lot of our weekend activities, especially the long weekends, usually sometimes there has to be a cap on how many students we can take, and that's for the safety of the students, as well as sometimes the facilities can only hold or accommodate so many numbers. So once we have at that cap, then students have been signed up and they're committed to going on that trip. All of this information will go out when we, through what they call a push page. So as parents, you'll receive an email that these events are happening, and our students will always know, like I said, through my KES and various other forms of getting to know about the trips that are planned. So our house parents, our prefects, and our house captains will also help share this information. Over Thanksgiving, like I said, some of our students will be going on the surf trip, but we really value having students being able to visit the homes of friends who live in the region. So you're always welcome to host any of our domestic or international boarding students. So it'll be first time October weekend for the hosting of the long weekend. For the students who are not being hosted or going away on the surf trip, we will have a huge variety of activities for that long weekend. So we have the house parents on duty, we have lots of teacher volunteers who love chaperoning different events, so that'll be a busy weekend for our students staying on campus. Anytime your child, if you're an international or a boarding parent, anytime that your children will be going away for the overnight trips, whether it's a friend or going, being part of a homestay, these permissions will obviously, you're the first point of contact as the parent, giving the permission, and then the host families, parents will also be contacted. They will be giving the permission, so we know that both families are giving permission for their child to do an overnight trip. Any questions you ever have, the house parents will be your first point of contact, and they'll be able to share, lots of information for you. We also have our head of female and male boarding, which is Miss Kelly Philman and Mr. Sven Dietrich, Mr. D, we call him. So I know you probably would have gotten some emails from them, but they also have a wealth of knowledge, as well as myself. I live here on campus with my family. So my husband is a house parent at Buckle, as well as he's a teacher here in the senior school. I will be teaching the junior health and wellness, so getting our junior students healthy and happy. And as the Director of Student Life and Wellness, you're always welcome to contact me, give me a call, send me an email, and if you want any information about your child, I'll be able to lead you in the right direction. Just knowing that coming up next week is our clubs and committees fair. So this is where students will be able to go around to the various tables next Monday on September 12th and learn about what is on offer there. So some of the offerings in the past, and we're still fine-tuning this, as Ms. Taya mentioned earlier, we have robotics, we have the green team, we have a rugby club, Model United Nations, choir, Duke of Edinburgh, we have yearbook and photography, the marketing team, Gender Sexuality Alliance team, Youth in Action debating. The list goes on. So as you can see and as you heard today, there's a lot of variety and really trying to make sure that students are participating in a variety of activities, whether it's during the school day, evenings, Friday evening, Saturday and Sunday, and really just trying to make them feel that they are a real part of the community, trying to give students from all age groups different parts of leadership, being able to plan some of these events, having a voice in these events, and just really trying to give them the best experience that they can being away from home. So if you have any questions, I think we're just going to stand up here in the front so we all don't have to keep coming up and down the stairs and be able to answer some of the questions that you may have. Again, as I said earlier, this is being recorded, so we can, if you have missed any part of the assembly or the presentation here today, then you'll be getting an opportunity to watch the recording again. Thank you.